It is Mike from Baltimore Rides here. My camera's a little bit different because my mount, I took my mount with me when I went to Virginia, and I was using the U-Haul so that I had a place to put my phone when I was driving. And the positioning is just a little bit off ever since I got back, but I'll figure it out. But I am doing my wrap-up video for, what day is today? Tuesday, March 13th. It's actually spilled into Wednesday. It's like the wee hours of Wednesday morning. Did not make a video yesterday. Honestly, I was out super late on the road. But it was a good night yesterday for a Monday. I did 165 yesterday. And tonight I broke 200. So, I'm happy with those hours. I started late both days. Did not get started right away. Got back Sunday late after really I got everything resolved, got the truck dropped off, did all that nonsense on Sunday. But I still had things I had to take care of yesterday morning and this morning. Stuff I wanted to bring over for my mom, from her storage units in Virginia. And then just kind of things I had to tighten up at home because I'd been gone for a few days. So I've been starting a little bit later than normal, and then obviously I'm pushing myself and staying out a little bit later just to compensate. But, that being said, it's off to a pretty good start for the week. A lot of you guys had a really successful weekend because Baltimore did kind of like a pre-St. Patty's Day pub crawl this past weekend in the city. And from what I've heard from a couple of you guys, it was a pretty successful weekend for everybody. The weather was passable. I guess passable is the right way to describe it. So it wasn't great, but it wasn't horrible either. So, so it was a pretty decent weekend. It was colder up here than where I was, but, it didn't rain or anything like, really horrible. So, this week is shaping up to be another good week. Weather related, I don't think we're going to really see anything too nasty coming down the pipe. There's a little off chance of sprinkles, but nothing really significant. I mean, New England is getting blasted, and Maryland has been great. We've really dodged bullets every snowstorm this year, so I'll take it. But, that being said, I want to cover a couple bases real quick with you guys, because while I was in Virginia, you guys sent me a couple messages, and there were a couple things that people talked about. And I mentioned it the other day when I made my U-Haul video, but I don't think that uploaded correctly. I think because I was on Wi-Fi, and I just don't think it uploaded correctly. So, cleaning fees and cleanup. Let's talk about that real quick, guys. And so what a lot of people think about when they think of cleanup fees, they think of barf, vomit, throw up, the drunk person that yaks all over your car. And that does happen once in a blue moon. I've had two in 4,000 plus trips. I don't really know how many trips I've done at this point, I'll be honest. I know it's almost 1,000 with Lyft since December. And it's over 4,000 with Uber. So it's, let's call it 5,000 as a rough number. It's a lot of trips. 2 barfs and 5,000 trips is not bad. But what really happens is this. And Madison Dean mentioned it the other day, and it's actually a very good thing that he mentioned, because cleanup fees are way more than just barf. Anytime, and Lyft and Uber both call them vehicle damage. So when you go into, I had a trip-related issue, that's going to be the line you want to click on if you have something that's happened to your car. Now let me give you examples of what kind of things fall under this vehicle damage / cleanup fee. Things that have actually happened to me. Drinks spilled. People with wet butts from swimming who sit in your car with a wet swimsuit and they get your seats wet. Food spills from takeout bags. Muddy feet on kids that crawl in your car and walk on your seats instead of walking on the foot part. What else have I had? Pen. Lots of different things have happened. So, so it's stuff like that where something's happened, you have to stop and resolve it. I'm not going to say necessarily clean it up, because like the people that were swimming that got in my car with wet swimsuits on, and I said, "Are you dry enough to get in?" And they said yes. And then when they got out, my seats were soaking wet because their butts were wet. I can't drive, obviously, because any passengers that get in the car are going to get wet butts. So I had to stop, use a roll and a half of paper towels to dry my seats, and then put my windows down and air dry my car for like more than an hour before I could potentially take a passenger. So it's time lost, cleanup expenses. That's kind of the combination. It's, time and revenue lost is really the one that people forget, and then cleanup expenses. You're not always going to detail your car. Somebody barfs in your car, depending on the consistency of the barf and the situation, paper towels, some carpet cleaner, you can soak it right up. But, somebody spills Italian salad dressing down one of your seat buckle receptacles, that oily, vinegary smell doesn't come out quickly. And you've got to be creative in how you get that stuff out. Otherwise, your car smells like a Greek salad for the rest of the night. So, you've got to be really, really creative, and that's where the loss of time part comes in. If you have to stop and resolve that issue, and then you potentially can't drive for an hour or so, you want to file a claim. Now, here's what you do if you think something has happened. And the best way to do it is always err on the side of caution. Always submit it. You may not get money. Take pictures right away. The minute their asses get out of your car, every single time your passengers get out of your car, you need to look backwards with the interior light on, or a trusty flashlight like this one, and check your car. Check the seats and check the floor. Now, if there's nothing visible, then you're probably not going to know if something happened. If there's an odor that you never noticed before, well, then there's probably something going on back there causing that smell. And that was what happened with the Italian dressing situation. Was these folks got in the car. It was a 30-minute drive to Columbia where I was taking them. So by the time we got to Columbia, I clearly recognized that the food they brought with them was what was creating the smell. Styrofoam to-go box in a plastic bag. And they set it down right in the middle, in between the two main seats. And it's not perfectly level. I mean, I got bucket seats in the back of my car. They're sloped. So it obviously leaked out of the styrofoam container, and there was obviously a hole in that plastic bag, because it dripped right out onto my seat and right down into where the little seat buckle thingy goes. And I knew the smell came from their food because the smell was not in my car until they got in the car. They brought the smell with them. They got out of the car at the end of the trip, and I was like, okay, let me decompress. Let me get this food smell out of my car. So I drop all 4 of my windows and I drive for like a minute. Then I put all my windows back up, and usually whatever smell a passenger's brought with them is gone at that point. When you kind of decompress your car, you lower all your windows all the way to the bottom and you drive for, a good minute or so, all the air coming in kind of flushes your car out. Put the windows back up, and within seconds I can smell that vinegary smell. So I pull over, I get my flashlight out, I walk around to the back, and I look inside, and I'm like looking around with the flashlight, trying to find it, and then I see the little bits of wetness right near the buckle. Touch it, vinegar smell. So immediately take my phone, snap 3 pictures, different angles, one without, like a wide angle, one close up, and then one with my hand in the picture as a reference point for scale. And I always you want to put something, a pen or your hand is usually good, because people's hands are pretty, some people got bigger hands than others. I mean, like, obviously, a basketball player's hands or a football player's hands are going to be enormous compared to mine, but a normal human being hand is roughly going to be the same size. If I don't do that, I'll photograph my pen in the picture with the stain, again, to reference size, because they're going to look at these at whatever office you're sending it to, and if they think it's a little stain and it's really a big stain, because there's no way to compare sizes, they might not give you as much. Then I go into the app. So I go offline immediately so that I'm not going to get a ride request by accident. And I don't want to screw up my acceptance rating or my, whatever. Then I go into the app, request help, fill the complaint out for the damage to vehicle, whatever, attach the photos, hit the send button. Put notes in, customer so-and-so, to-go bag, styrofoam container, plastic bag, sat in the middle, right above the buckle, must have been a hole in the bag, it dripped out. Oily, vinegary smell. And you hit send. And then you wait. And you wait. And you wait. And sometimes these things can get processed quickly. And when I mean quickly, I mean within 2 hours. Sometimes they take days. And the reason for that is simple, guys. The amount of money that they're going to withdraw from the customer, the offending customer's account, I think determines that. If they're going to charge a minimum cleanup fee, which is usually like $40 or $50, I don't think they wait. I don't think they get the other customer's side of the story. I don't even think they do a confirmation with that person. I think they just push the button and charge the customer's card. But when it's a $150 cleanup fee for a puke or something really, really bad, I think they do their due diligence, and I think they send a message to the customer to get their side of the story, just to confirm things. And at the end of the day, we've got the photographic evidence. Maybe you've even got it on video camera. So you've got what you need to support your situation, but they just want to check their, dot their I's and cross their T's. Some of the longest ones I've done have taken 48 hours. And then some of the smaller ones have happened within an hour or two. So you have to be prepared for a little bit of wait time. You don't want to necessarily stop working. You want to pull over, and then once you've done this, submitted it, sent the pictures, and pushed the send button, then you clean it up. You get your trusty cleaning supplies out of the trunk of your car. All of you guys should have cleaning supplies in your car. I keep window cleaner, shampoo cleaner, like the carpet cleaner. I think Scotchgard is the brand that I use. It's one of those foamy ones. Paper towels, and then my cleaning supplies for the outside of my car. But paper towels and either Windex or the carpet shampoo cleaner work great. The foaming one brings stuff to the surface. It kind of like bubbles up, and I really like that because it makes it really easy to get whatever's soaked into your seats out. Windex is actually really mild. It doesn't have bleach in it. The one I buy doesn't anyway. It's really mild, and it'll break something down, but it won't actually damage your car. So it's not like Formula 409 or a household cleaner that may have bleach in it, that may have something that's going to stain your seats, or something that's going to damage the fabric in your car or the leather. So Windex is really, really mild. It doesn't really have that stuff in it, especially if you get the one without bleach. Or ammonia. You don't want the one with ammonia in it either. So, that's kind of a mild one for like a surface spill, like a soda, something like that. But I like the shampoo carpet cleaner, the bubbly, foamy one. I think that works great. You let it foam up, and then you kind of let it fade back down, and then you just soak it right up, and it's usually everything's on the surface at that point, and it's really good about pulling stains out. And you can usually scrub it in with like a toothbrush or something. I have a dish brush in my trunk, and I just kind of scrub it in, let it foam up, let it do its thing for like a good 15-20 minutes, and then I soak it up. And then you want to put the windows down and let your car air out, let it dry. It's a good time to take a break, go get a cup of coffee, whatever you need to do to give yourself a break, for just to let the seats dry out a little bit. You don't want somebody sitting on a wet spot. And then go back to work, guys. If it's too wet that you can't go back to work, then you got to pull the plug and you got to go home for the night. But hopefully it's not. Hopefully it's just a little spot and you can get it pretty dry with paper towels. I carry a single roll of paper towels, and when I get low, I buy another one. I don't carry multiple rolls of paper towels because it's, you don't have enough trunk space for that. Baby wipes are another good thing. They're very, very mild. They're not abrasive. They're not, there's nothing aggressive in them. They're used to clean baby bums. So, another thing that you can use to kind of wipe up stuff. But they're not going to pull out stains. They're really more for like wiping down door handles and smudges and muck on the floor and kind of things like that, where you need that wet surface, or that wet fabric, but you don't want to slather a bunch of water or chemicals on and make your seat even wetter. So, there's kind of some handy tools you can use. Everybody's a little bit different about what they carry. I think it's a personal preference thing. I don't think there's one list of things that everybody has to use. I think we all kind of adapt it and evolve it a little bit on our own. But you got to have something in your car to be able to resolve that mess right away after you've documented and reported it. And my attitude is send everything in and see what comes back. Now, I'm not taking pictures of scratches on my trunk. I'm not taking pictures of, oh my God, they scuffed the plastic liner of my door. Sometimes I've heard a lot of very overly ridiculous stories. And Uber and Lyft, I'm sure, have too. Things that are just far-fetched. My trunk, the part of my trunk where you you put stuff in, the mouth or lip, I guess you want to call it. It's got some wear and tear on it from suitcases and whatever. It's okay. It's okay. It's not the end of the world. If somebody whacks my car and puts a dent in my door, you're damn right I'm going to document it. But a suitcase is not going to permanently damage my vehicle. It might make a scuff or whatever, but it's not going to permanently damage my vehicle unless somebody's really using it wrong. And I think that you have to draw the line in the sand, but in the passenger portion of your vehicle where people sit, anything that's going to slow you down and stop you from doing business, a stain, a spill, oh, glitter, that's another one. I had a lady around Christmas time, full Christmas dress, like sparkly, covered in glitter dress, and sat down, went to her Christmas party, got out, and my whole seat was covered in glitter. Now, come on, guys. The next person that gets in that car, maybe they don't want to look like a sparkly princess. Maybe they don't want to get up and look like they're covered in glitter from head to toe. So I had to spray it down with Windex and use a baby wipe to try and wet it so that it didn't just fluff around, and then wipe it all up. And immediately pictured it, photographed it, cleaned it up, filed it, and sent it in. And I think I got $50 on that one, 50 or 40. But, still, it's common sense. If you've never worn this dress and you've never laundered it, half the glitter's going to come off every time you move. So, customers don't necessarily care about that stuff. They don't care. They're not going to be the ones to consider the property that's ours. Kids with crayons, markers, pens, same thing. Do you really think their mom and dad is going to be like, oh, my kid drew an L on the back of your seat? No. They're going to get out and hope to God I don't notice it. And if you don't have a magic eraser or something that's going to get that ink up fairly quickly before it sets in, then you're done. And if you don't notice it till 2 days later, then how are you going to know which person did it? But if you notice it right away, you have a pretty good chance. If you see kids get in your car with any kind of writing implement, you have to tell their parent, look, no pens, no markers, no crayons in your kid's hand while we're in the car. You just say, look, I've seen too many cases of people writing on my seats, writing on my doors, writing on my windows. I can't have it. So they can't, they can look at their tablet, but they cannot be writing or drawing while they're in my car. End of story. And kids with food, guys, if a kid gets in your car with a sippy cup, a drink, or food, you need to go over that car with a fine-tooth comb after that kid gets out. Because kids have sticky fingers and they spill stuff. And chances are they're going to make a mess. Now, you're not looking to pay your bills with cleanup fees. You're not. And I probably submit a cleanup fee maybe once every 3 weeks. So it's not that often. Maybe once a month even. I don't know. It's around that. But you definitely want to take good care of your vehicle. And part of that is being proactive. If somebody makes a mess, you've got to resolve it. And it's part of our contract that we can charge customers for damage to our vehicles. So why not take advantage of it? So I'm going to wrap it up here, guys. This is a bit of a long video because I kind of rambled on a little bit. It's late. But cleanup fees are important, guys, and I really wanted to be able to kind of go into that in detail. So if you have any questions, shoot them to me. Send me a text, something, and I'll go into more detail if I missed something. Other than that, guys, I will be back out on the road tomorrow. Thank you, everybody, and I will see you soon. Bye.